Afternoon.
Good evening.
I guess we just went to the afternoon here too.
Happy hour in Amsterdam, isn't it, Rick?
Yes, it is.
Well, I'm in Chicago.
Oh my God.
And it's always happy hour here. So, Jonathan, I thought you knew that.
That bad, Alan? You got to hide in caves now? They'll never find you. Oh, there I am.
Oh, I haven't seen anyone else join. You want to start, Alan?
Yeah, how many do we have? Everybody, I can't really tell but who's. Okay. Good morning, everybody. This is Alan Joel, your outgoing president for 2020. Thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to be your president, though it was a interesting year, I will say that. I think we kind of weathered it very nicely as best as can be expected. This is our probably, I think, our sixth investment sales Zoom session. And this is actually, we have the most submittals this time than ever before. So thank you for doing that. I'm hoping that some of this turns into a deal or two for some people. The goal here is to get some conversations going between offices of properties that are for sale, buyers that are looking. These are strictly, we're trying to emphasize investment sales, not user sales. And we're also trying to do, you know, a little more cross-pollination within our organization. So I'd like to ask for each individual that's presenting their opportunity to keep it to about 2 minutes. Basically, what I'd like to do is tell us a little bit about what you've got, why it's such a good investment for people outside of your sub-market, and or what you're looking for if you've got a buyer looking for certain types of property. In the meantime, if you have questions, please raise your hand. I will kind of ask questions as things go by that might be pertinent to what the specific property is, you know, people are talking about, we might have questions about. But in the meantime, if you have a question, go ahead and just raise your hand and type it in, and we'll get you on the screen. So no further ado, to get going, I'm going to start with our first opportunity, which is Mr. Dan Wilson at First Capital, friends in Orlando. You're on. Tell us what you got.
Awesome. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Alan. I appreciate it. And I want to thank you for this forum with the network here. This is, I think, can be a great opportunity for everybody to really learn more about other opportunities outside of our immediate market there. I'll try and keep this pretty brief, but over the course of my career, I've developed relationships with a wide variety of private equity funds and real estate investment trusts, both publicly traded and private as well. So what I wanted to do is that can be a very wide variety of property types. I'm really looking to kind of focus on investment sales and really the industrial space, primarily kind of single tenant or a small number of tenants. So I don't have one specific buyer or fund, but a handful at least that are bigger and have a pretty voracious appetite, especially in the industrial space right now. So I would say any either value add, certainly stabilized opportunities you have with credit tenants, good tenants, preferably some term left on the lease, but if not, that's okay. In your primary and secondary kind of MSAs. So in the Southeast, here in Central Florida, I'm pretty familiar with that market, but South Florida, Jacksonville, Tampa, Atlanta, Charleston, and then kind of around the country as well. So if there's a solid, preferably single tenant, but a solid asset you have in your market that, maybe is off market or maybe just isn't quite a fit for some of the buyers you're seeing, I'd love to take a look at it. And, if it seems like it's a good fit for some of my folks, I would love to put it in front of them. The bigger, the better. So I would say on the small side, kind of 5 to 10 million. And then going up from there as either the credit or the location improves, you're going to get a lower cap rate and a lot more interest in those types of assets. So, feel free to reach out to me on anything you think might be a good fit. So that is primarily what I have. If anyone
All
has
right. Dan, thank you. So if you need to reach out to Dan, there's his email is on the website. If you just go ahead and do that on your own,
Yep.
if you have specific questions. But just in general, Dan, have these buyers bought anything outside of your market? And if so, where and what was it, real quick?
Yeah, I mean, they go everywhere. These are like the Prologuses of the world, the WP Carries of the world. I've got a relationship with a Florida guy, for example, but if there's an asset in Atlanta or Columbus, Ohio, they can refer me and get me in touch with the local market director there and get a look at it. I know from a previous call, we had a couple assets that weren't quite a fit, but got it in front of the Prologis guys up in Chicago. So they'll look just about anywhere if it's an institutional grade type asset.
And that's mostly industrial, correct? That was kind of your preference.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's certainly a market for other asset types. Office has its challenges right now, as we all know, but for well located, more COVID resistant tenants, certainly those are worth a look, especially if it's a single tenant. It's more COVID resistant type tenant and user. We'd love to take a look at that as well.
Okay. Any questions for Dan? Anybody got a question? Great. Well, Dan, thank you. That's a good buyer. That's always nice to know. Our second opportunity, Dan, over in St. Louis, can you tell us, you've got a need, I guess, for another buyer looking around? Tell us what you got.
So thank you all again for joining the call. This is my second call, and the previous call resulted in a deal with Scott Hensley from Piedmont. So
hey, it works.
We ended up. So this is for our own equity fund, Bamboo Equity Partners. We ended up buying 4 industrial buildings in Charlotte. Thank you, Scott, for that. So we're looking throughout the country, looking for industrial office, medical office, value add properties. So anywhere from we would buy anything from 2 million to 30 million. We have about $150 million in equity to spend. So again, pretty open. Show us, any of your deals that you have. And we'll quickly get back to you. Our underwriting process is pretty fast. We can underwrite a property within a day or two and get back to you within with an offer within 2 or 3 days. So unlike most of the institutional buyers, our properties don't have to be institutional grade. They can be smaller properties. They can be B, C class properties. We have been very active in industrial sale leasebacks. We've bought 4 of those since, I guess 4 of those in the last 4 months, and looking to close 2 more before the end of the year. So again, anything that comes through that looks like a good deal to you guys, we would love to take a look at.
Alan, before you move on, can I weigh in? Make a couple, 2 comments?
Please do.
I can't speak highly enough of Dan and his team at Bamboo. So just a little background on that. It was a deal that was here in Charlotte. It was an off-market deal that I had to be selective in who I took it to. And taking it to Dan, their team performed. They didn't come back to reiterate the deal. As he said, it was quick underwriting. You know, we negotiated. It was, you know, fair negotiation, tough negotiation, but they paid a fair price for it and absolutely performed as they said they would. So I would tell you guys, keep Dan and his team at the top of your list. They were wonderful to work with. And then just talking about this CORFAC work, it does. So again, this was an off-market deal. It was selective who I could take it to. And Dan and I had gotten to know each other through my work as the affiliation chair, literally going to St. Louis, visiting their office, and came in town later on, spent some time together. So it goes back to not only was it CORFAC that worked, but as we all know, it's a relationship business. I felt comfortable with Dan, his team, that they could perform. So I didn't hesitate in going to them. So just, you know, for the young and old out there, CORFAC works, and it is about relationships. Thanks for letting me weigh in.
Yeah, appreciate it, Scott.
That's great. It's nice to see this thing work. I'd like to, maybe we can get CORFAC, corporate, to go ahead and publish something like that. I think this is our first deal that directly came out of these conversations. So it's clearly it's working, at least, you know, so far. So thank you. Any other questions for Dan? Okay, our next opportunity, back still in St. Louis. Ed, you gonna tell us you have an office building?
Good morning. Yeah, my name's Ed Backer. I'm with Intellica in St. Louis. This is a bamboo asset, so hopefully one of you can return the favor to Dan. I'm going to quickly tell you today about CLAYTON PLAZA. It's a boutique, fully stabilized, 60,000 square foot office building in St. Louis's top performing submarket. I'm going to quickly go through what I consider to be the 4 investment highlights, and those are: 1, CLAYTON PLAZA. It's located in our most robust, high barrier to entry submarket, Clayton, similar like a Buckhead in Atlanta. 2, it's fully renovated in a modern, creative style aesthetic. 3, the building's fully stabilized. It sees tremendous leasing activity that outpaces supply. And 4, we believe there's still value that can be created with this building. So dive into those real quickly. 1, CLAYTON PLAZA, we mentioned, our most robust, walkable, dense, cosmopolitan neighborhood, and essentially our de facto downtown. There's currently over $1 billion of active new development, including the Ryan Company's 13-story mixed-use, $120 million development across the street. Lots of institutional capital, KBS, Bentall Kennedy, AIG, Opus, USAA, CA Ventures. It's really the trophy assets in our market. Regularly through ups and downs, sub 5% vacancy today, even despite COVID, we're under 4 at about 3.8%. It's home to global headquarters for 1,000 Fortune companies such as Centene, Post Cereals, Graybar, Caleres, Belden, Olin. High percentage of St. Louis executive residency, home to one of the most expensive streets in America, the only in Missouri. So the key takeaway, if you're not familiar with St. Louis, Missouri, if you're going to make an investment, it should be in Clayton. So second point, the building's fully renovated. It had $3 million in capital improvements, another $2.5 million in tenant finish. It's got a brand new expanded building lobby, exposed ceilings, reclaimed wood. The common areas are brand new. The restrooms are brand new windows, elevator cabs, ceilings, LED lights, overhaul of the exterior of the building, including a large outdoor patio space for tenants to really create an outdoor kind of atmosphere. 3, fully stabilized, tremendous leasing activity. We get calls every day that I just simply don't have space for. It's over 97% lease. We're at lease on space now. All we have is about 1,600 square feet left. Diversified tenant mix. It includes, national and some of St. Louis's most reputable businesses. And 4, to kind of wrap up, we still think there's value with this opportunity. The weighted average rent is about $19 a square foot, full service. Recent transactions in the building and competing properties are pushing $23, $24 a square foot. Kind of an interesting play with the cell tower income on the roof. We've got offers that we're going through. People are willing to pay, 5 cap, about $1.5 million on that cell phone tower. So you could buy this immediately day one, pull $1.5 million out of it. NOI, it's about $800,000 today. Year 2, it'll be $860,000, and we believe that through renewals, rental growth, and just riding this really strong market, there's really some great upside here. So thanks for listening.
Great. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate that. Our next up is Mr. Porter in Richmond. How are we doing, Bob?
Forsyth Boulevard.
He's here somewhere, I hope. Bob, you on?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, there he is. How you doing, Bob?
Hey, so it's actually Robert. My dad and Cliff weren't available, so they subbed me in for this today, and they're still doing well and staying busy, but a little bit of new blood here in Porter Realty. So we have this just about a 9,000 square foot owner occupied office condo. Owner is looking to capitalize on the strong real estate market now. They have been in the building since owned the building since it was built in 2005. They're willing to sign a 5-year lease with a 5-year renewal option. So as far as numbers, looking at a price of $1.85 million, cap rate of 7.5%. So they actually occupy about 6,000 of the 9,000 square feet. They prefer to do just a master lease for the whole thing, and they have 2 subtenants that have been in place for quite a while, taking up the rest of the 3,000 square feet. One's been there, I believe, since 2014, and then the other one's been there since the building was built in 2005. So long track record there. The local law firm that owns the property, they focus on real estate. So, maybe compared to some other office properties, I would consider this to be a decently strong tenant. They've been obviously extremely busy, as most real estate law firms have been over the last 6-9 months and longer. Trying to think what else I can tell you. We have obviously some additional documents related to the condo association that if anybody's interested and can sign a confidentiality agreement, happy to get that info in front of people and let people take a deeper look at it. But they're willing to sign a triple net lease. A real estate law firm that we do a lot of business with, and a lot of the brokerages around town use quite a bit.
Okay.
So they have a really good reputation.
Sounds like it's a good 1031 exchange kind of deal, maybe. So
Yeah,
for somebody.
yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So
Any
happy to
questions
answer any other questions.
Okay, I guess Kurt asked what class of buildings are the last 2 shown. So I guess, would you consider this a B class building, Robert?
Yeah, just given the age on it, I would consider it Class B. I mean, it's in really good shape, and the condo association takes good care of the roof and everything. But yeah, probably strong Class B.
Okay, great. Any other questions for Robert? You can type them in or raise your hand. So next up is Ed, TRI Friends in California. Tell us what you got over there on Broadway in Oakland.
Okay, thank you. First, I want to introduce Brian Slocum, who's on the call. He's a new industrial broker that we hired from CBRE. So he just joined us, and he has a couple properties later on. So thank you for this opportunity.
Sure.
So I'll be quick. This is in the uptown area of Oakland. It's across the street from a brand new hotel that's about to be finished. It's about 3 blocks from Lake Merritt, and there's a lot of new apartments in this area. So this is either a owner user opportunity where the downstairs is vacant, so SBA loan type building. There are residents upstairs, and full disclosure, 4 of the 2 are occupied in Oakland. When residences are unoccupied, they're worth more because of rent control. But this is an SBA purchase, or this could be torn down and be 20 units. as an exit strategy. So we originally had it listed at 2.7. We fell out of escrow, so we'll look at 2.4 to 2.5. That's it.
Good. Is the first floor retail, office, combination of
Retail.
both? What could it be?
It's actually commercial, so it could be everything from a bank to a bike store equivalent.
Okay.
Hey, Ed, this is Caleb Kahn in Sacramento. Can you put, other than SBA debt, can you just get any other debt on it?
Oh, no, sure, for sure. You can do conventional financing, but they'll limit it to 65%.
65.
And then the second thing they'll do is, again, this is Oakland, like San Francisco. If you have residents on rent control upstairs, the going rate in San Francisco is you buy out a tenant at $100,000 a tenant. In Oakland, it's around 40 to 50.
Okay.
So the reason why we lowered the price 2.7 to 2.5 is to reflect 4 buyouts.
Got it.
Ed, where is this location? I think in relationship to Sears building. Kirk wanted to know that.
Oh,
of course,
it's only 1, 2, 3 blocks away. And the Sears building has been rehabbed for tech tenant.
Cool. Any other questions for Ed? We'll get back to, I guess, the next one. You got the next one. So we'll talk about some land.
Right. So what's happening in the greater East Bay, think of us as New Jersey to New York. We're the suburbs. You can't go into the ocean west from San Francisco, and then Silicon Valley is expensive and Marin's a different country. So you go east, young man. And in any case, we have now just listed, partner and I, 2 acres, Teddy, next to the Castro Valley BART station. Castro Valley is midway between Silicon Valley and what we call Tri-Valley, where Lawrence Livermore Lab is. So this is just 8 miles to the west. Facebook just leased 400,000 feet. So this is a perfect site for multifamily. You can get with BART density bonuses, several hundred units on this site. So it's available for sale.
Okay. Any questions for Ed with this one? All right, Ed, next one.
Okay, this is a marina and a development opportunity. So if you look to the top property just above the marina, you see some vacant land there. That is now North Point out of St. Louis, purchased that and is building 2.1 million square feet. They got approved a year and a half ago, and now literally just south of that on the border of the marina is Amazon with 160,000 feet. So there's rumors of Home Depot doing it just in time. They're trying to buy an adjoining property for rail delivery. So if you look at this marina, it's a marina. If you look at the left side, this is master planned to actually be a housing development. So you could fill in, these are man-made harbors, which is different in California. If it wasn't man-made, you couldn't fill it in. But you could actually put homes on piers, stilts, and have a master plan community. There's other acreage that comes with this where you can actually build a hotel and a restaurant. It's estimated that the project, North Point project, is going to generate 7,500 truck trips a day next to this. So so we can either do some kind of industrial warehouse or the motel on the side. So it's a marina with development opportunity.
Ed, is the marina generating cash flow right now? If you just left it as a marina, does that make sense, or is it pretty much a redevelopment deal?
No, it does generate. They're closing marinas. Apparently millennials don't sail. Have you heard of virtual sailing? You can actually virtually sail. I don't understand that. But
But you don't get wet.
You don't get wet. They haven't raised the both berths. It's 95% occupied. Both the berth rates haven't been raised in 5 years, and it cash flows.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Ed on those? All right. I guess we're still on TRI, but Brian, you're up. We got some industrial land.
Yeah, Brian's our new person.
Hey, Brian.
Yep, just joined TRI Commercial out here in Walnut Creek, which is East Bay, and formerly at CBRE for 7 years and Colliers International before that. So I'm excited to be here and work with TRI and Ed and CORFAC.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, thank you. This first property is it's a land development. So it's 11.23 acres up in American Canyon, which is Napa County, right adjacent to the large wine storage, big box / e-commerce warehouse zone of American Canyon. It's you can't, on that picture, you can't really see the shape, but it is slightly an odd shape. It's kind of L-shaped in design. Probably wouldn't be suitable for large scale wine storage or e-commerce, but more so small industrial or self-storage or RV storage, really. So I think the play here is if you have a developer who's into RV storage or self-storage, this could be something that would be good. It's close to housing, it's close to existing industrial, and there's not really much as far as a competitive set for RV storage and self-storage in the direct vicinity. So pricing on is around $1.5 million, which is about $3 a square foot. And there is some wetlands to contend with, but it should be relatively minor. Zoning is recreation, but can be augmented for heavier industrial and self-storage per the city. That's it for that.
So
You have another one, right?
Before we go on, just so people know where this is geography, this is about 30 miles north east of Walnut Creek, Oakland, and it's about 40 miles northeast of San Francisco. American Canyon is the wine warehouse district for the Napa wine region. So all the ecosystem that feeds the Napa wine economy, a lot of it's located in American Canyon.
Yeah, I should say that the interior adjacent parcel to the subject piece that I'm marketing here is under development now for 2 330,000 square footers. I think one is pre-leased for wine storage. So there's quite a bit of activity nearby.
Great. Tell us about your other Peabody.
Yeah, so Peabody is out in Fairfield, Solano County, which is a little further east from Napa County, and this too is kind of focused on RV storage, I should say. It does have improvements on it. It's 9.75 acres, 2 parcels. The front half is a landscaping company, and they're actually the owner of the property. And then the back half is the RV storage, and only, I should say, about half of that half. So 2 acres of the back, 5 acres or so is RV storage. So there's plenty of opportunity to expand the existing RV storage and get more income on the property. And then the front landscaping company who owns the site is the seller, and they would include the landscaping business with the property sale should somebody want that. So you could, an investor buyer could purchase this with a business that's producing income from the landscaping operations and some existing RV storage income, or they could remove the landscaper and do RV storage on the whole site, which is probably the most effective play right now, given there's been explosive demand for RV sales in the US and particularly California with COVID and lockdowns, and no one can fly anywhere. So pricing on this is $3.2 million, which is $750 a square foot. I think that's pretty much the scoop on that one.
Okay. All right. Brian, thank you. Appreciate it, Ed. Going on to our friends in Pittsburgh. So we got, I guess, let's see, John, you're up. You've got the property, I guess, jointly listed with Cushman, looks like, but tell us about that property.
Yes. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, great. Yes, this came from actually a lead from Cushman Pittsburgh. They're not licensed in West Virginia, and so we worked with them on it. It is a part of a larger portfolio, and so we handled the West Virginia properties. There were 3, now there are 2. These are classic single tenant net lease investment properties. Huntington Bank, very strong credit, renewed for 10 years on the entire portfolio without any negotiations. And that's really significant because they spent a lot of money on these properties And that, even though it's retail banking, and I know some investment buyers have cooled on that, that's a strong message from Huntington that these are successful and strong locations, renewing for 10 years. And there are kind of classic older bank locations. There's a little bit of excess office, but the story here is the cap rate and the low rent per square foot and the low purchase price per square foot. So there's a lot of value there. And I think any perceived risk, i.e. what if Huntington leaves or wants to take less space in 10 years, is balanced by the fact that there's a lot of good value here. 10 years ago, these would have been 5.5 cap type deals. So the seller realizes, hey, I need to be in the 6, in the lower 7s to move these kind of properties. The one in Morgantown is excellently located. Morgantown is the home of WVU. It's just over an hour from Pittsburgh. It's in the middle of High Street, blocks from the main campus of West Virginia University. So it's a really good piece of real estate. Just from that standpoint, it comes with 3 parking lots and decent acreage. So there's a lot of upside there. Clarksburg is just south of Morgantown, pretty good corridor in northern West Virginia. It's kind of part of the Rust Belt, and then but has had some new stuff and new developments in that part of the state. West Virginia is a mixed bag and has a lot of unhealthy and poor areas, but those are a couple hours from here. To the south, this is more part of the greater Pittsburgh region. Clarksburg, again, the story is all about a rent per square foot, and it's low, $6 a foot. So an investment buyer that understands absolute triple net leases is going to be happy here. Those aren't as available as they used to be. So Huntington Bank does everything. They're putting, they'll put on a new roof, HVAC, they do it all. You just get the check as an investor for 10 years. And like I said, Huntington's very satisfied here, over 100 million in deposits. In Morgantown, over 130 million in deposits in Clarksburg. So for that kind of old school triple net lease investment buyer, this is an interesting opportunity. Maybe some of the folks that were on the call earlier, buyers looking at larger price points or putting together a pool of properties. They could use these to juice their cap rate, but they're buttoned up for 10 years, and I think the long-term prospects are positive as well.
So John, the Morgantown Huntington Bank, do they lease the entire building? Is that they do? Do they use
correct.
it?
So,
do they actually use the whole building?
So both of these are similar in that there's an old bank that's been there for 100 years, and then another building kind of added on. Morgantown's a little bit different. They connected 2 buildings, so there's actually another retail entrance, and they sublet that to a visitors bureau. But yeah, these are 10-year master lease, absolute triple net lease, guaranteed, fully guaranteed by Huntington National Bank properties. Even though Huntington occupies over half the space. But for them, it's a profitable banking location with the deposits and the total rent. So that's why they renewed without any negotiation. Just kind of a neat story, especially in 2020.
Cool. All right. Well, that covers opportunity 10 and 11. Is there any other questions on this one? This is another 1031 exchange kind of deal, looks like. All right. Well, John, thank you. That's an interesting listing. All right. Next up, number 12 is our friends in Florida, Fort Lauderdale. Keith, tell us about what your office building.
Sure. Thanks for having the call here. It's a good opportunity. So this is located in Fort Lauderdale, one of the largest suburban submarkets called Cypress Creek. And just geographically, Fort Lauderdale and Broward County are sandwiched between Palm Beach to the north, Miami-Dade County to the south. So we're right in the heart of that metro large MSA area. So Cypress Creek is one of the larger submarkets. It's very established. It's home to many corporate tenants, including Microsoft, Citrix Systems. There's a bunch of hotels and restaurants in the immediate submarket. Interestingly, the city, they've coined the area as uptown versus the downtown. So it is one of the larger office submarkets. and they're actually implementing a new plan to kind of go with the 24/7 live, work, and play theme. So they're creating some density with new residential, new zoning, new transportation methods, and so forth. So a lot of good things happening in that submarket. Is the office sector. And I know that's been dampened a little bit versus the industrial sector, but we're actually seeing some activity in the Cypress Creek market because a lot of folks are moving out of downtown. The price points are much higher downtown, plus you have the added parking costs. So I wouldn't call it a wholesale flight out of downtown, but we're seeing quite a bit of law firms and other moving out of downtown for a better value and being able to capitalize on that. So this asset is a long-term client of Burger Commercial. They've owned it since 2005. They are cycling out of this asset. I have another one that may hit the market in the near term as well. So we're pricing it right around just under $6 million, which comes out to about $140 a foot. For South Florida, that's a pretty good price point. It's reasonably stabilized. It's 93% occupied. There's not a lot of CapEx or hair on the deal from that perspective. There is some upside potential. Some of the in-place rents are a bit below market, so you could reset those in time. So this is really an opportunity for maybe an out-of-town investor if they want to get their foot in South Florida. This would be an interesting price point. You're not going in too heavy. It's a reasonably sized asset that a lot of investors could handle. So that's the story.
Keith, how many tenants are in the building?
There are 10 spaces. There are 9 tenants in place.
Okay.
Keith, what class of building would this be considered? Sorry.
Class B.
Okay.
And it's not on market yet. We're finishing up the OM. So we're gonna soft market this initially and then take it to the broader market. But yeah, we're probably within a week we'll have the OM completed and ready to go.
Good. That's a good little listing. All right. Thank you, Keith. Next up, John, TRI. Tell us about your retail deal.
Will do. Thank you. Good morning, all. This is a Chick-fil-A. It's in Fairfield, California, which is about 47 miles northeast of San Francisco. It's a 4,530 square foot Chick-fil-A that's paying $149,490 a year. That asking price on there is a 4.1 cap what they're asking, but we're in escrow as of last week at a 4.3 cap. That's why it's listed as such. It's a very short fuse on the due diligence, 2 weeks left on this. We are looking for a backup offer. Not sure about this buyer at this point. They look good, but you never know. It's so the asset itself has 6 years left on the primary term, 4 or 5 year options, double drive-through, rumored to be doing over $5 million a year, irreplaceable with that double drive-through, and it's on the freeway pylon signage. And Chick-fil-A has actually come to us and asked if they could potentially expand. It's actually attached to a 9,800 square foot Fuddruckers restaurant, which we are repositioning also and right sizing the Fuddruckers. So there will be a potential opportunity for Chick-fil-A to take some more square footage, which even further solidifies their interest in the site. We're taking it through a condominium conversion, which will be finalized in 30 days. So that's a little bit of hair if investors aren't used to seeing something like that, but that'll be finalized in 30 days and be a clean asset sale. The Fuddruckers adjacent to this will be also for sale. I'll have that available in about 30 days, 9,800 square feet. It has a brew pub inside it. They will be expanding the brew pub, downsizing the Fuddruckers to the back of the house, and then we'll have 2 or 3 spaces up front. We'll be leasing to someone like AT&T and Verizon.
Okay, that's a great 1031 exchange. Chick-fil-A is out of Atlanta. They're just killing it right now. They can do no wrong, it seems.
They're COVID resistant, that's for sure. They're new.
Kurt, welcome aboard. This is your first session with us. Thank you for joining us. It would be helpful if you turned on your mic.
Yes, yes, it is. Okay, so it's interesting because this opportunity would probably be something I'd want to submit to Dan Adokovic once I have it listed for sure. And then this owner actually lives in Fort Lauderdale, and he wants to divest of this and start buying stuff down in Fort Lauderdale, and do an exchange with a property down in Fort Lauderdale, which then I'd be calling Keith Graves about. So that's pretty interesting that way. This is a Class B office. Lombard, Lombard is a west suburb that's in the east portion of the east-west corridor, which is the best part to be. This is just west of Oak Brook, which most of you probably know that address better. Oak Brook is a better address. If it had an Oak Brook address, we'd probably be able to get more for it than we are. It's a very nice, it's a nice Class B building. It's been well maintained. I think it's a pretty good opportunity. And it has good upside right away because the company that occupied first floor space, which is really quite nice, was actually this owner's family business. And so that would be something that could be at least very quickly and unbelievably, even though it's office property, the suburbs in Chicago are doing better leasing wise than the CBD because people are actually wanting to get out of the CBD. So I think there's a good opportunity there on that too. So
Kurt, how many tenants are there?
There are about 12.
12 tenants? Okay. All right. Well, good. Well, reach out to our folks in Lauderdale, and hopefully you guys can make something happen. That's great. That's what this is all about. Any questions for Kurt? All right. Ron, you're up. We're talking about Walnut Creek retail. What you got?
Thank you. And thank you for having the call today. So yes, this is a retail property we have in downtown Walnut Creek, about 30 miles or so east of San Francisco, out here in the East Bay area, not too far from our TRI office here in town. Property consists of, as you can kind of see from better perspective, is the top half of the image there. We've got 2 buildings with an on-site parking lot with 11 stalls right in the center. Total of currently 4 tenants. We've got 1 vacancy on the far left end of the building on the left there. We've got an end cap that we're currently trying to lease up. Next to them is a strong regional pizza operator, been in the property for about 8 years. Have about a year or so left on their term. However, they spent about $500,000 or maybe more than that of their own money on an extensive remodel and renovation of their space about 2 years ago. So they are strongly incentivized to stay there as long as they can to amortize that. 2 tenants in the south building to the right, currently month to month, could potentially be a good opportunity for an owner user or also a value add investor. Asking price you see here is approximately about a 5.25 cap rate. Probably some of the stronger attributes from a value add investment perspective. If you look just beyond the building on the left, that is actually a fully signalized intersection with 18,000 cars a day going right by the property. South Main Street is actually a freeway entry and exit point from Interstate 680, which is a major north-south corridor stretching from the North Bay area, Napa Valley area, all the way down into Silicon Valley. This is basically the southern entrance into downtown Walnut Creek. And immediately, if you go to that intersection and turn right, you are in Los Lomas. That's the driveway to Los Lomas High School, which has 2,500 students and about 100 staff, and as many parents, or probably double the amount of parents, picking their kids up and dropping them off every day. Across the street from there is Kaiser Hospital, one of the largest employers in Walnut Creek. It's a their main hospital campus in the city. And probably the greatest advantage that this property offers in relation or compared to other retail properties in town is from a zoning perspective. What's going on right now, particularly in a lot of cities here in California, and especially here in the Bay Area, in light of the restrictions that we're seeing as a result of COVID, and probably more of an elevated level here in the Bay Area than elsewhere in the country, is and especially with the city of Walnut Creek, is they're asking themselves, what is the future of the downtown going to look like from the standpoint of what types of businesses are allowed to locate here from a zoning perspective. Currently in downtown proper, the only types of businesses that are allowed on the ground floor with retail visibility are businesses with cash registers. In other words, those that generate sales tax revenue, versus anything along the lines of what you might call professional services, real estate offices, architects, attorneys, that type of thing that don't have cash registers. The only way they can get into downtown proper is if they occupy second floor office space above the retail, where their visibility is limited, if not restricted altogether. This property already permits those types of professional service uses, whether by right or with a conditional use permit. So we're not by any means waiting for any kind of change in the zoning or whatever kind of plan or is implemented into the future to respond to what's going on. So that's a definite advantage that we have there. And welcome any questions.
Great. Well, Ron, thank you. Sounds like a very unique property in Walnut. Next up, our soon-to-be president, Joe Latino. Welcome aboard, Joe. Tell us what you got.
Greetings, everyone. It's good to see everybody, and it's good to see this great turnout today. So we do have this one small triple net investment property. I'm going to turn this over to my junior, Tyler, 1 second here, and he's going to kind of give you the specs on it. But I know you guys that are kind of searching for industrial investment, two off-market things that are going to come on. So basically what I have right now is I have 2 leasing listings for these large industrial buildings. One of them is in Wilmington proper in the city. The other is in a big growth area called Middletown, Delaware. The one in Wilmington is 128,000 square feet. I've been able to basically backfill it with 6 different tenants. I'm finalizing the 7th lease right now. Once that is done, we're going to go out to the market in the 7 cap range at $4 million. So if anybody, that's an off market, kind of a precursor to that one, I will package that up and send it out when I have it. But if anybody has some, initial advanced interest, let me know. The other building in Middletown currently has a 95,000 square feet industrial building, also a multi-tenant building that is a lease assignment at the moment. It's 10.5 acres, has another 60,000 square feet to be built. Working on completing that vacancy right now, and that one will come out in the $6 million range. So those are just 2 heads ups on industrial buildings, because I know that's what a lot of people are looking for right now. With that, I'm going to turn this over to Tyler Foresta. He's going to tell you about 501 South Market.
So 501 South Market, we have a retail type flex right in the heart of Riverfront District in Wilmington, 300 yards from the Chase Center, which I'm sure you all saw in presidential stuff lately. Tenant is strong tenant. It's got 13 locations across Northeast, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. It's a major area of growth in the city. We have a couple of large developers put money into this area, most notably with the field house from the 87ers, which is the local Delaware offshoot of Philadelphia 76ers basketball team.
D-League.
It's a D-League basketball team. We're looking at a just shy of 3,000 square foot building. We're asking 550. NOI's 36, so that puts you just over 6.5 cap. But we've had a lot of interest, no offers. I think we need to get a bottom floor on that. So if you have an offer, anybody interested, bring it our way.
Tyler, who's the tenant again? I'm sorry, you faded out. Who's the
with
tenant?
a 5 option to renew, a 3% increase in.
Tyler, who's the tenant again?
Any questions?
Yeah, who's the tenant, Tyler?
That volume is not up. What is?
Who's the tenant?
Pasco Batteries. It's like a kind of a local AutoZone, regional,
but more business to business.
Yeah, it's more business to business.
100 units, 100 plus miles.
Okay, that's a pretty good price for a little freestanding building down at the riverfront.
It's on the other side of where most of the development has traditionally been, but this area is starting to pick up.
Right. Okay. Any questions for Tyler on that one? Somebody wants to invest where our president lives? Okay. Scott, you're up.
Thanks, Alan. This is an opportunity here in Charlotte. It is a 46-acre industrial site with about 338,000 square feet of existing improvements. It is owned and operated and occupied by a company called Huntersville Hardwoods, and they have been in there since the first building was built. They are a hardwood processing distribution company. They're scaling back this location, moving some operations to other locations in other parts of the country. So they put it out there. It's probably a little bit of a stretch for me to call this an investment opportunity. Most of our marketing has been towards the end users, but it is a great opportunity in 46 acres. So the 338,000 square feet of that, there's about 195,000 kind of in closed buildings. They're all metal. Then you got about another 63,000 square feet that are open air that could easily be enclosed, and then about another 41,000 of canopy area. The upside, I think, is for somebody to come in here, convert it to a multi-tenant industrial complex. You've got probably about, of that 46 acres, maybe 20 of it, 15, 28, 20 of it undeveloped. The challenge will be that limited utilities. You got water to the site, sewer will need to be extended. So of the several office areas on there now, they're all served by septic. So that'll be a challenge. The other thing is the buildings are of lower quality metal, no insulation. Again, most of these have been used for drying sheds or warehousing of hardwoods. There are two existing tenants, however, that produce about 161,000 NOI right now. In March of 2021, one of the tenants expands. You'll be up to about 255,000 NOI. And then the owner will consider leasing back probably about 60,000 square feet. So that'll be determined by really what somebody's willing to pay for it. Rail served Norfolk Southern, great location in Charlotte, liberal zoning, zone special purpose up there, which is equivalent of I-2. A lot of markets, heavy industrial allows for outdoor storage. Otherwise, I think that's it. Any questions?
Okay, that's an interesting piece, property. All right, last but certainly not least, we're going with David. Tell us about your land in Northview.
So hello, CORFAC. I just want to try to really get a wider net spread for this multifamily development property. It is right north of downtown Sacramento. It's literally 5 minutes across the river to downtown Sacramento. As you can see from the overhead, it's truly an infill site, and it's got both affordable and market rate apartments in the direct submarket. It's a smaller property. That's been the challenge, but if anybody knows affordable developers, you can probably almost double the unit count from 20 to 40 with those affordable density increases. At $400,000, $395,000, it's an acre of land. So you're looking at a per door cost of about $18,000. And again, if you can get higher density, it drops down to $15,000 to $14,000. So these are rock bottom entry prices for a developer, especially when you're, essentially 5 minutes from Sacramento and all of the, the commercial and business opportunities there. So it's just amidst all this, do you know of people who are developers, multifamily developers who are looking maybe to get a start in California, do something small, try something, but that's in a very well located position?
Okay. Well, we are right at an hour, and I want to try to keep these at an hour or better. I do want to thank everybody for your participation. clearly, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to the broker directly or one of the CORFAC staff. They can get you in touch with whoever you need to get in touch with. But as a party, I want to thank everybody for participating in this, and we'll probably do this again, obviously in January. We'll try to do this maybe once a month, more once every 6 weeks. I wish everybody a great holiday season and stay COVID free.
One quick thing, and guys, if you need a phone number, if you need an email address of anybody on this call or anybody in the network, please download the CORFAC app. It is so easy to get these numbers. I've been using it very quickly. It's awesome.
Is Dan Wilson still on the call?
I am, yes.
Hey, Dan, it's Caleb here. I just wanted to maybe get your information. Maybe you can email me at my TRI commercial email. It's caleb.con.
And that's KHA.
Yeah, CALEB.KHAN.
Or just go to the CORFAC app.
Yeah,
Go to the app.
Sorry, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All right.
Everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Thank
Talk
you.
to you
all.
later.